So I guess I'll get started. I'm Jim Gordon. I'm the leader of the Agent Gordon team here in Cambridge, Cambridge, Ontario. And so we basically service Cambridge, Kitchener-Waterloo, Guelph, Brantford, Stratford, and kind of all the small towns in between. Our team consists of myself, two other agents, an admin assistant, and a marketing coordinator.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Excellent. And I'm not too far from Jim. I'm in Waterloo, just up the highway a bit. I'm a broker owner of Red and White Realty in Ontario. Also own a brokerage in Saskatchewan, Alberta, Nova Scotia. And I am a member of 6 boards in Ontario. So yeah, keep growing.
Oh, absolutely.
You must be tired, David.
I'm tired, man.
I'm Blake Roberts. I am 97 Way Home Real Estate Group, as my blatant advertising on my wall says. Highway 97 is the highway through Kelowna, British Columbia, where we are. So it's my wife, Marlene, and my daughter, Katie. We work together, and we're just in the process of hopefully adding a team member in the south, kind of Penticton and Vernon area to the north, if all goes well. So
awesome. I always wonder what the 97 meant. Oh, that's good. I like it. It's neat.
I got that from a Tom Ferry convention.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I am Sandra Pike, all the way from Halifax, serving the local area. So guys, thank you so much for joining me here today. So everybody has had a crazy market. And so I just like to ask you some questions of what you think of the market and, you know, where it's going to be going. And David, and your perspective, I think, is going to be great, where you have your hands in so many pieces of the pie provincially. So I'm looking forward to your answers. So I'll start with you, Jim, first. Are you getting competing offers in your market? And if you are, do you see them, what do you see the longevity of it? Like, how is your market?
Our market is very strong here, and I'm sure David will echo these comments, but yeah, basically we're seeing multiple offers on pretty much every listing, at least everything, I would say, kind of under that $600,000-$700,000 mark. Pretty much all listing agents are holding offers. We're getting anywhere from, 2 to 3 to just competed against 40 other offers the other day on a place here locally in Cambridge. So yeah, we're definitely seeing it. Shortage of listings, just a ton of people out there trying to crack into this difficult market. And to answer the second part of your question, I do see it continuing into the new year, just with all of the pent up demand from buyers that haven't been able to secure homes in the fourth quarter of this year. I don't see it being any chance of that slowing down into the first quarter of next year. So. And
what would your average price point be in your area?
Single detached homes were in and around $600,000.
And how high would they be going above asking?
It all depends on the pricing strategy. So a lot of agents nowadays are going with, pricing aggressively. So anywhere between 50 and 100 under the actual market value. And so we're seeing, oftentimes sales 50 to 100. We just sold a place 160 over asking the other day. So yeah, it's just a strategy to get a lot of buyers in through the property, and then kind of get that bidding war going for our sellers.
Mm-hmm. So David, what are you seeing in your markets, apart from in Ontario? What are you seeing out west, for example?
So like with Ontario, what Jim was talking about, traditionally in our local markets, so Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, we have, like, the Kitchener board usually has about 1,500 listings that we would carry on a monthly basis. And I checked this morning, we're at about 170. So it's crazy how few listings we have, which is causing this pent up demand and the overbidding and everything like that. Right now, we're finding from the stats we're keeping that it's 1.9 times the assessed value is what houses are selling for. And as little as last year, they were selling for 1.4 times assessed.
Wow.
So it's been ridiculous. This whole year has, you know, the challenges for buyer agents, like Jim was saying, like you got 40 offers, one buyer agent's winning that deal. The other 39 are going after the next house on the market that pops up. So it's this sort of just big wheel that buyer agents are running in and trying to get the next deal and the next deal and the next deal. And it's a real challenge for buyers. Like we had one house go for 150,000 over ask the other day, and the asking price was relatively where it should have been. Like it was at market value, and it still went for 150 over ask. It's a bit crazy. Yeah, it's a real challenge in Ontario as far as the number of listings. And that's in every market that I'm in. So Sudbury, Kitchener, Guelph, Cambridge, Lakelands, they're all the same, low inventory and more buyers than we can handle.
Would it be the same out west, or have you been keeping stats there?
So Saskatchewan and Alberta are a little bit different. Their economies have been hit a lot harder than Ontario has, especially with the oil industry. So Alberta is still going through price changes. Their values have dropped off. So they're still getting multiple offers on houses that are appropriately priced, but the houses are sitting longer on the market than they would have in Ontario for sure. And Nova Scotia, like Nova Scotia, from what I've seen, any house that's appropriately marketed is going into multiple offers now. And we're finding that even in Nova Scotia, all the way through the whole province, that is happening. Not necessarily Halifax, right? But up in Glace Bay, Cape Breton, the same thing's happening. If the house is appropriately priced, it's going for over ask.
Yeah. How about Kelowna, Blake? What are you seeing?
I guess we're kind of in between what's happening in Ontario and then obviously Saskatchewan, Alberta. Our market's up. I think none of us saw this coming. I don't know about you guys. When COVID hit, I'm thinking it's over. I don't know. But we're up. I should know this off the top of my head. Our average sale price for single family homes is up to $824. We're up 12%. Our sales are up 36%. And then the biggest thing is our days on our months of inventory. This time last year, we were just under 6 months. Now we're under 2 months.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're just short. Now it's funny though, we're seeing multiple offers, but not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing it. But what's funny is sometimes on multiple offers, I know of 2 situations in the last month when it's multiples, the people that got it panicked 2 weeks later, right before subject removal, pulled the pin, sellers were left holding the bag, and the first buyers were gone. So I'm always nervous about multiple offers. And when I hear these, Jim, that realtor that had 40 offers,
mm-hmm.
I think I'd quit real estate. How do you deal with that if you're the
mm-hmm.
listener? Oh my God.
Yeah. The worst part of that was for my buyer, as apparently we were second.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyways.
We've had it pretty crazy here in Halifax as well. Most of us hold offers, and our average house price has jumped about $70,000 since this time last year. And it scares me, when I see what properties are going over, and like who knows where we're going to end up. But I truly didn't anticipate, this at all. And it just keeps going. So Blake, in Kelowna, would you say most of the offers that you're seeing are just coming from locals? Do you get many, are there foreign investors still? What's happening in your market?
We have a lot of out-of-town buyers just because Kelowna is kind of a destination. And, I get, they say with COVID, people are starting to live where they want to live. And because of the world we're in, virtually you can do it. I've not seen any foreign buyers because we have a foreign buyers tax of 20% in the province.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, yesterday you told me you were going to ask this question, so I wanted to do some research. A couple Facebook groups I'm in, just asking other realtors, are you getting them? And for the most part, no, it's Canadian buyers.
Okay. So would there be a lot of other Canadian buyers? Are you just seeing people coming into Kelowna just because it's other people from BC or outside of BC? Where would they be from?
Both. A lot of Vancouver, but a lot of even Alberta, where the market's slower.
Oh, wow.
You know, I guess the people that have the money can make those decisions, but almost 30% of our clients, buyers this year, have been from out of the province.
Wow. And are you getting any American requests?
No, again, because of the foreign buyers tax, right? 20 points. So it eats up a lot of their savings, right, in terms of the dollar. So.
Gotcha. And how about yourself, David? Where would you say most of your clients are coming from?
Like what we've seen is we've seen a lot of Ontario buyers going east. So to Nova Scotia, we've done, I think, 12 deals this year within the brokerage. So buyers that are working with buyer agents in Ontario, then working with listing agents in Nova Scotia. So that's been a trend that we hadn't seen the year before. But for the most part in Ontario, I think it's very local buyers. I don't see a lot of people coming from out of province into Ontario. There's the immigration, which is standard, but more often than not, it's people looking for, like what Blake was saying, the COVID has changed things. And what's really changed the way people are looking at their lives is the ability to work from home and their ability for their kids to go to school at home. Before they'd have to attend a physical bricks and mortar school, but now they can go to school online anywhere. So they're looking at other opportunities, whether it's other provinces or other countries or Caribbean destinations, whatever it might be. Those two things have changed the buyer's perspective on where they want to live and how they want to live their lives.
And Jim, in your city, what's it been like? Where are the buyers coming from?
We're seeing a huge influx of buyers from the Greater Toronto area pushing out to Guelph, Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo. Basically, although our numbers in our region, COVID-wise, aren't great, they're better than the Greater Toronto area. With the color coding system we have, Toronto area is currently in gray, which is lockdown. We're in red, which is just a step below lockdown. But anyways, basically the premise is people in the GTA, their prices are so much higher where they can sell there. And a lot of them are coming here and they're able to pay cash for houses in our area. Basically the buyers there, they just want more space. They're crowded into condo buildings or smaller lots. They're really flocking here to get just a little bit more space, room to stretch out. And again, with the COVID numbers being a bit lower, I think they're feeling just a little bit safer in our community as a whole, as opposed to the Greater Toronto area.
I see.
And it's in Ontario, and Jim will reflect on this as well. We had what's called It's So Real Estate. So what's happened is there's been 22 boards that have joined together as one huge MLS system. And what that's allowed people to do is buyer agents from outside of our local area have access to all of our listings. So they can see what's for sale in real time now. They didn't have to refer deals to outside agents. So that's allowed them to buy outside of their own comfort zone, and they'll travel to Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge because they're still going to make $10,000 or $15,000 on a purchase. The latest stat we saw was that 60% of the purchases were done from local realtors. So 40% from outside of our local area are coming into the area, and that's the biggest number we've ever seen.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I didn't send this question to you guys, but I mean, let's say Canada-wide, and for myself, Jim and Blake, we are part of an American coaching group, and I know they're experiencing, you know, a lot of this in the States. What is it that's inhibiting people to, you know, to list their homes? Or what do you feel is driving the forces that, like, two countries, you know, we're basically all in a seller's market? Like, what is it? Is it just COVID that people, you know, they just want to get out and have bigger space? Like, you know, that's what's eating up the demand. But I know we don't have as many listings as it was this time last year. It's I don't know what's preventing people. I mean, it's not just COVID. Like, what do you guys think it has been like the
I can sort of comment on that. I don't think that we're seeing, let me rephrase this, our listings are down, but our sales overall are up. So as people are still listing houses, they're just selling at a faster rate. And I think a lot of that has to do with the interest rates are so low that buyers are able to afford more homes. Like we've had, I think Jim will talk to this too, but like I think it's last 4 months, month after month after month have been record sales. So sales are still happening. We're still getting 3,000 plus deals per month, but the houses are coming on and going off, coming on and going off. And one of the challenges that we're probably going to face in the new year is that a lot of the buyers that are buying in our market are taking a property out of our jurisdiction and listing their home in Milton or GTA or whatever it might be. So they're not introducing new homes for sale in our marketplace. So they're taking one out, but not putting one back in. Mm. And that's a challenge.
And what are you seeing, Blake? What do you think?
You know what, honestly, Sandra, this is so far out of my wheelhouse. And I think it's, you know, David, because you're in the different markets and a broker, I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm taking that in and it's very accurate. But I hear so many other realtors were giving opinions as to why. I kind of joke it's just a surfboard and I'm hanging on for the ride.
Yeah, it is hard to say. And I've never experienced this in 10 years either.
Like in 2017, in our marketplace, we sort of went through this. We had an influx of buyers from the GTA coming into our marketplace. And a lot of it was because their house prices had gone up so dramatically that they could sell their property and come into Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge area and buy a house cash and still pocket $600,000 or $700,000 in the bank. Like it was that crazy because our house prices were so low compared to the equity that they had in their homes. So it was great for them. And we're in a town that has 2 universities, a really big college. So a lot of parents were following their kids into the school system. So kid would go to Wilfrid Laurier University or University of Waterloo or Conestoga College. And they'd say, well, we'll just buy a house out there and you can live for free. And they'd sell their big house and move here and be happy, right? So we went through this in 2017, but I never expected it this year. Like I think we were down 50 deals as a brokerage at the end of May compared to last year. And now we're up 40 compared to last year, which is nuts. It's just nuts.
Crazy. Jim, how about yourself?
Well, I think locally for us too, like David mentions, the universities are a huge source of people wanting to come into the area, but also, you know, a lot of people might not know, but our tech sector here is also very strong. We have big Google office. We just received the new Amazon location. We've got Communitech. We've got a ton of different startup tech businesses in our area. I believe that's driving demand too. I think outside of Silicon Valley, I think we're 2 or 3 in North America for different startup companies wanting to kind of get started here because there's kind of that camaraderie and there's the support for the various tech startups. So we have a lot of things going for us in this area that I believe is really driving that demand to people want to be in this area. So
I would say a lot of, some of the clients we experienced this year on our team, we had buyers from both BC and Ontario. And not only because we have more affordable housing here, but our COVID numbers have been extremely phenomenal. If there's anything that I can say about the Atlantic bubble and the Atlantic premiers, they've been really strict, and I think they've done a great job from day one trying to get COVID under control, and they've done so well. I'm really proud of the premiers here. So I think that's been the reason why we are getting some people from other parts of Canada coming, just because it is safe and it is a great family, place to bring your kids up here, actually anywhere in Atlantic Canada for that matter.
Can I tell a Halifax story, Sandra?
Yes, you can.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. We had a kid, and it's the housing prices I know are a lot more affordable because I've had friends talk about Halifax. We had a kid, I was on the board of directors of a junior football team, Okanagan's son, 18 to 22 years old. So we get kids from high school, come play junior, and then go play university. We had a kid from Calgary, came to Kelowna, loved it. All the boys love it here because there's the beaches and things. And then he went to St. Mary's.
Oh, wow.
He told me the story years later. He says how much he loved Halifax. And he said, he said, it's weird how friendly everybody is. He says, it's weird. Everybody is so nice. And so that's a compliment. So, you know, not more nice than weird.
Well, Newfoundland is better. I'm just putting it out there. So guys, any final thoughts to our market for 2021 and even going into 2022 at all? Jim?
I'm really looking forward to 2021. I mean, obviously it's really hard for buyers in the current climate, but I'm just telling people they have to be patient. You know, we have to get into places right away and see them as soon as they come on the market. And I'm kind of preparing them ahead of time that, look, we're probably not going to get that first or maybe even second or third place we put an offer in on. So, you know, don't absolutely fall in love with that first place and kind of put all your eggs in one basket, because chances are somebody else has already lost out on 4 houses ahead of you and they're going to get this place. So we just have to try to set realistic expectations for our clients on the buying side. And then on the selling side, it's a lot more fun on the selling side for sellers going into this process. So yeah, I think our big job as agents is just to educate our clients. And, you know, the more experience we have and the more times we've kind of gone through these different scenarios, the better we can coach our clients when they get into these positions. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what 2021 has to offer, but I think it's going to be more of the same. Mm-hmm. And obviously we've seen that COVID or no COVID effects, that the market is still going strong, and I anticipate that to continue throughout 2021.
When it comes to 2022, David, you know, we're still, you know, if Jim's prediction is right, that we're still going to have the competing offers and still a scarcity of listings. Do you see prices flattening by any chance in your markets, or just continuing to grow?
I think pricing's relative, right? So we're about an hour west of Toronto. So the same house an hour east of us is $500,000 more in value. So relatively speaking, someone moving from that area to our area is getting a bargain, not unlike people moving from Ontario to Nova Scotia saying, oh my God, I can, you know, buy a $250,000 home on 3 acres and cash in, basically, right? So it's relative. I think that there's a number of driving factors going forward the next 2 years. We talked about the remote jobs, the remote learning. I think that 5G internet is going to be a huge driver as to whether people can work in suburban or remote areas more than they can in the urban areas. Because the reason people lived in Toronto was because they could work close to home. They had shops and restaurants and everything that was provided to them. Now that those places are closed, they're going to be looking for opportunities that are more for their lifestyle, right? They want to live better. They want to enjoy their lives more. So if they can move outside and have a bigger yard or whatever it might be, those are sort of the urban to suburban exit strategy, I think, is going to continue through next year and the year after. And I think that COVID has pushed us that way, but even with the immunization and everything that's going on, I think that people's mentality has changed. I think that they're looking for, man, this could happen anytime, so I want to be in a place where I can enjoy my life. Mm-hmm. So I think that what's really important going forward next year and the year after is to have really strong relationships with agents outside of your local selling area. So build relationships with people that are in cottage country, build relationships in other provinces, so that if you've got a seller that says, you know, I'm selling my house and I don't want to be here anymore, I want to be in another province or I want to be in another area, you have the ability to refer those and still have an income source. So I think that's going to be important.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about you, Blake? Where do you see 2021 and 2022? Like, what are your thoughts?
Again, I hate to sound like a politician. I'm just, I appreciate everything David's saying, and he's right. But my standpoint, I just, you know, real estate, as we all know, changes on a dime. And right now, because of COVID, there's so much we don't know. So I just tell my clients, my buyers specifically, guys, everything says we're doing this, but just remember it's your home. And, you know, this could happen. Just be aware of that, and buy the home you love, what's your happiness worth, put a roof over your head, and in the long game, you're going to be fine. Yeah.
We had a rise here in our market back in 2012. Houses were going 30, 40, 50,000 over asking. The ship start here was an influx of, you know, of the shipyard hoping to acquire all these contracts to build boats. And unfortunately, it didn't go that way. And when you tried to sell your house 3 to 5 years after, you either broke even or you lost money. And, you know, I just keep thinking about that. Like, what's it going to be like in 2023, 2025, where people are paying up to 100, 150,000 over asking? Will the rest of the market catch up to that? Like, I have no idea. And it's just truly a roll of the dice just to see what's going to happen, right? Yeah. Well,
yeah,
anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I think interest rates are a driving factor as well. Like, we just had news the other day that one of the banks is offering a 0.99 interest rate on a 5-year variable. Like, that's free money. Like, honest to God, like, if you can go get a $600,000 house at a 0.99 interest rate, it's ridiculous, right? So I think that's going to be a driving factor too. If people can get homes on a cheap budget, they're going to keep buying.
Yeah. Wasn't that the catalyst, forgive my ignorance though, what happened with Freddie Mac down in the States? People were getting interest rates really low, and then rates went up and mortgages got called in. Isn't that what happened down in the States?
Yeah, Freddie Mac sort of had like a loss leader mentality. They'd give you a cheap rate for the first 12 or 24 months, and then it would switch over to a higher rate. And yeah, people didn't quite understand how that would affect their monthly payments.
Hopefully that won't be here. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate your time, and maybe we can all get together again next month and just see, you know, how our markets are coming into 2021.
Fabulous. Thanks for the invite.
Perfect.
Nice meeting you guys.
Thanks, Sandra.